The first quartet was a new idea for me because instead of taking as a starting point other music and literary stories, I went to my first love really, which was painting and drawing. When I was a young bloke, I really, really wanted to be an artist. And my mother grew up in Ballarat, a country town in Victoria, and so we spent a lot of time up there, and especially in the art gallery. There's a marvellous regional art gallery in Ballarat. And a couple of years ago, I went with Mum to the art gallery and we saw a beautiful exhibition of woodcuts from all over Australia, a lot of them from Sydney actually, but there they were in Ballarat. I brought the book home and so many of these pictures just, I can't explain how, they conjured up musical themes or musical ideas, inchoate ideas. And I put a number of these together. The first one is based on a wonderfully mobile woodcut of a washing line actually. It's not sail, it's called Sails in the Wind, but it's actually a washing line. And these sheets are blowing there, and I thought that could be a wonderful musical metaphor. So that's quite a vibrant, fast movement. The second one is actually an amalgam of two woodcuts. One is a very simple, almost line drawing of the Corio foreshore near Geelong, Victoria. And it's really just a series of parallel dark black lines with you can see the steeple of a church rising up and so on. And the other one is a picture of magnolias sitting on a table. And I thought how nice it was to think of oneself on a boat out on Corio Bay, looking at the shore and imagining what's going on in all those houses. And the last one was a bit of fun. It's a picture of Sydney trams. There aren't any Sydney trams, obviously, they've all disappeared. But it's a picture of a Sydney tram going up an undulating hill. And I remembered that when I was a boy in Melbourne, we had conductors on the trams, and the number 8, which went down Toorak Road, had an ex-clown who used to climb among the rafters of the tram. There might be some people in Melbourne who remember this guy. And he was great fun. And so this is really based on his antics. String quartets. Carl Vine told me, we want you to write a string quartet, and I'd never written one before, and Carl said, well, you'll find it an interesting experience. It's quite difficult, you know. And I thought, well, I can see that it's difficult because Beethoven wrote all these wonderful quartets. Everybody has written all these wonderful quartets, so there's a lot to live up to. But of course, Carl also meant that they're just hard to write. They seem so simple. You don't have a whole orchestra to write for, you have only 4 instruments. But those 4 instruments demand, in the quartet setting, they demand real understanding. And I think that everything is tested. Every note has to matter. Every technique has to work. All of the music is heard. All of the notes are heard. All of them are examined. It's like quartet notes are somehow seen under a microscope. For me also, the quartet it's 4 players coming together and forming an instrument. That's an idea I like. And it helps me to think of it that way too when I'm struggling to find a texture for a particular passage. If I'm thinking, well, what can I get the cello to do? What can I get the violin, viola to do here? I can struggle, but if I think of this whole instrument of 4 players, then it often makes sense.